Investing lessons from the School of Hard Knocks. There's some things you just have to learn through experience. And someone who's new to the markets or relatively new, still young in his investing career, I'm happy that I've learned so many lessons just in the last 7 to 9 months that I've been, really just diving into the crypto markets and the stock markets as well. But today, I obviously am going to be talking about one of the major lessons that I've learned. And it kind of comes on the heels of an interesting article I read by Arthur Hayes, who is the CEO of BitMEX, which is the largest Bitcoin and I guess now Ethereum trading platform in the world. And obviously we have been in a bear market, right? And I sort of got into crypto in September of 2017. I found Ripple, and then Ripple popped off to $3 just about, and that worked out really well for me. Sold a bunch of Ripple, made some good money, and then I really started diving into a lot of these other thousands of other cryptos, reading white papers, reaching out to one of my close friends who is the most knowledgeable person I personally know in this space, and learning a lot of different things. And at this time, Bitcoin was on its run up to 20,000, I think. It had just probably hit about 17,000, go on the up, not on the decline, around the time that I started investing into some other altcoins, because at the advice of and wise counsel of my friend, he's like, I wouldn't buy Bitcoin at these prices, and so I started doing some research, found a couple of other projects that I invested in, and there's only been, I think, one that I've actually even talked about in previous videos, which has been Funfair. I actually am planning to do a video very soon talking about my other holdings, but the thing I want to talk about is sort of this idea of getting squeezed out of your position. And Arthur talked about this in his article, and maybe I'll link it in the description. But he talks about how he learned lessons as a trader in Asia, because of the different regulations and lack of liquidation and some of these Mickey Mouse markets, as he refers to them. Basically, he learned how to not get squeezed out, and to know that you're going to sell out of your position whenever you're going to sell, and you're going to buy in whenever you're going to buy in. And I knew in 2017, early 2018, whenever I was buying some of the projects that I've invested in, I knew that the market was inflated. I knew that we were in a mania. I had a lot of warning, and it was also just very clear. At the time I was working at Amazon in a warehouse, and I knew things were bad whenever one of my co-workers was like, oh, you should be buying Bitcoin right now. You got to be buying Bitcoin. It's, whatever. And I was like, oh gosh, like this is the definition of taxi cab advice. And yeah, so I purchased, I used a lot of my money at that time, and I bought different projects, bought into some projects that were overvalued relative to what they've done, what they've achieved, but they were projects that I believed in. And the thing that I knew I was doing at the time, and I was very aware of this, was I knew that I was trying to time my entry level. And although the markets were greatly exaggerated, and I didn't actually appreciate how inflated some of these prices were relative to what they ought to be for the products that they actually have currently, I knew I was getting in on my position, and I knew that whenever the market went down, I was going to be able to buy in at lower prices, which is almost like a kind of an arbitrage in a weird way, because if you buy something and you're happy buying it at, let's say, $75, you're obviously going to be really happy buying it at $15 if it's something you still believe in. And I think that's the caveat, right? Like, if it's something you don't know anything about or you're not very confident in, well, then of course you're going to get squeezed out of your position because you don't know really what you're buying. And it's very possible that some of the projects I've invested in aren't going to materialize. I think the biggest lesson that I've learned so far is that your entry point does not need to. Don't let the mania and don't let the emotions of, well, if I don't get in now, I might have to be buying. Like, don't let any of that stuff determine your independent thinking about when you're going to enter the market. If I had just sat on that cash that I had spent on those projects and I had waited 7 months, which is a long time to wait, I would have been able to buy in at these lower prices that we're seeing right now, and I would have, potentially really increased my upside if these things go back up in the next bull run, which I have confidence that some of the projects I've invested in are still really solid. But the good news is that if, the projects that I believe in, and there's some that as time has gone on, I've sold some things I realized, oh wait, this probably wasn't a good idea. Tried to just get back my money on a lot of things, like OMG and QTUM. Those were some of my biggest bad decisions. But yeah, I was able to recoup the money I put into those for the most part. QTUM, I took a slight loss, but I was like, hey, I better cut this thing short. And that's also important, is like not being emotionally attached and knowing that you like being able to take a loss, which you have to learn how to take your L's and just take your punches in the face. But what I really am excited for is as we see these lower and lower Bitcoin prices, I'm continuing to accumulate more Bitcoin, but I'm also excited for those projects that I believe so strongly in back then and still believe in to start loading up my bags on those projects as well, and acquire more and invest in those projects. And so, yeah, I just wanted to make this video because I think this is an important lesson to share. I just wanted to document, continue to be honest and transparent in my journey, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace.